To announce the release of security groups to Lifecycle Insights. Our partners have asked for ways to 1. Assign companies to account managers, 2. Give clients access to their reports inside the platform, 3. Give specific users read access to a limited number of pages. So let's take the first example of limiting an account manager view to specific companies. First, as you look down the left-hand navigation panel, under Account Settings, you'll see a new tile for security groups. If you click into security groups, you have the ability to add a new security group. So I will call this one the Northern Regional Office. And I'm going to limit this to 3 specific companies. And then I'm going to take a look and say, yes, I want them to have access across all of these menu options. I want them to be able to see assessment events, assessment analytics, and analytics across all customers, but they don't need access to the configuration and administration options there. I want them to have all of the MSP reports, and out of the gate, the default is to let them see that there's a menu for account settings, but they don't have access to that. I'm actually going to turn off all the administration pieces for them, but that is up to you. I'm going to click Save, and now I can go take a look and see if I've got the view that I want. So I'm going to go up to my profile or my name in the upper right hand corner, and I now have an impersonate option. I'm going to impersonate that particular role. So I just created the Northern Regional Office, and I can see that no users are assigned to this group yet. When I impersonate, you can see that things changed on the left-hand navigation panel, and now in my drop-down, where I normally have all of my clients, I now only have access to the 3 that I chose for this group. And as I look through the list down the left-hand side, I can see that I'm missing the administration pieces, but I do have the ability to click into any of the other pages and do the work as expected, as I gave them read-write access to all of those pages. Once I've decided that I like what I see, that's the view I was aiming for, I can go back into my name, cancel impersonate, and now as the tenant admin, I can assign the users to that specific account security group. So I click on Account Settings, click into User Manager, and now I can find my user and assign them to that new role. So now when I update that user, if I go back in just to confirm and hit impersonate, I can see in that top line that their security group is aligned to Northern Regional Office. And when I go to impersonate them, I can now see it's been updated, so I can tell exactly which users are in this group. Use case where we might want to give a client access to their reports inside the platform, but in read-only form. So I'm going to scroll down to Account Settings and create a new security group. This security group will be specific to Hogwarts, and I'm going to indicate that this is a client-facing group so that anybody looking from my end will understand who we're giving access to. We want to make sure we leave this as do not allow members of the security group to impersonate, because you wouldn't want them to the ability to impersonate someone in your company. So for these, I want them to have access to all of their individual company reports, but this time in read-only view. And one thing I do want to adjust is I'm not going to give them access to contracts, and I may or may not choose to give them access to their business reviews, depending if I have internal notes or not there. For assessments, if I want them to actually score an assessment event, I could give them read-write access to that, but maybe on the analytics page, give them only read-only access. So I'm going to turn those features on. Make sure I scroll through all the lists so that I turn off all the other features, including help, because remember, that'll come to Lifecycle Insights and not your company. So when I click Save, I now have my Hogwarts client group. Again, I can go in and impersonate and see, and just to ensure that I've given the securities that I'm interested in. You can see the options in the left-hand navigation are dramatically limited. And as I click into the options, I can still use all the same functionality. So the sorting, swatching, filtering all work. I can even click in and look at individual assets, but I don't have the ability to update any of these fields. Same thing with user, budget, forecast, projects, etc. I can go into assessments. Remember, we gave them the ability to actually edit one of their assessments. Maybe we wanted them to look at their stack alignment assessment and make their answers there. And they have the ability to do all of that, and that is all. So that is one way that I can give them access to the information and choose what they have the ability to edit and not edit. Don't forget, after you've impersonated, that you will need to add them as a user in the account settings, user manager. You'll want to add your client in, make sure they understand that they will be getting an invitation email, and then you'll want to go into the specific user and change their tenant. So I'm going to start fresh one last time, and we're going to look at the use case of when I might want to give a specific user just read-write access to a single page or two. A use case for this might be if I have an intern that is going to update some missing asset data for me, and I want to call this my intern group. I want them to have access to all companies. I do not want them to be able to impersonate other groups. And I really want to limit this to the dashboard, the asset list. So I can turn off all of the other pages. I do want them to have read and write access because I'm going to have them enter the data for the assets directly into the asset page. I can click Save. Again, now I have the intern group, and I would have the ability to go impersonate to see and ensure that they have, in fact, the only reports that I want them to have. So now they can drill in, they can click into an individual asset, make the updates I need them to make, and I'll be able to see all of that in my overall view. I'm going to cancel impersonation, back to where I started. We're really excited. We expect some enhancements to this in the future, particularly limiting assessments so that you could be able to give your clients some of the assessments of view, but not others. We are really excited about this. Hope you are too. Can't wait for feedback. Happy life cycling.